And I basically told her, I was like, if I had stretchy powers, I wouldn't send like the girth to my fists. Like,
All right, thank you.
you have to tell me when you hit the record button,
No,
sir.
of course. Sorry, my bad.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back to Seen by a Few. So this week, as a COVIDeos, we're going to be doing Miss Marvel. So I'm Nick.
I'm Lance.
Didn't have anything funny to say.
No, nothing at all.
Gotcha.
Well, I was trying to think of like, if I had like stretchy powers, like what would my name be? And I'd call myself like Girth. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I'd call you With.
With?
Yeah. It's a fat joke.
I know it's a fat joke. I was trying to find a way to turn it back on you. We really need to do these earlier in the day. When it's this late, my quipping powers are gone.
Aha, quit. Too bad, buddy.
All right, so Miss Marvel.
Yes. So this one, I mean, we're putting this video out a little bit later, hence why we're calling it a co-video instead of a new to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, we got to build that backlog back up. But still, I kind of want to talk about this one a little bit. Because these particular comics were mine, and I brought for prop purposes.
There's no toys.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you're super interested in Miss Marvel, like beforehand per se.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. So, it's all on Disney Plus, all 6 episodes. You can go check them out. I think we'll kind of guess our ratings and then kind of see where we go from there. And then we're going to start getting into spoiler shit. Our typical format.
So since this is the one of the ones that you were looking forward to, I think we should do your rating first.
Okay. So this was a series I was looking forward to. And that's a bad sign because I'm going to give this a 5. Were you 1 off?
No, I'm 2 off.
Oh, wow. Are you slipping?
I'm slipping way back.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I thought you would have rated this higher, only for the fact of, I mean, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, all right. So
that's about where I'm sitting. Whereas I watched and then I'm like, meh.
Mm-hmm.
And that describes a 5 to me.
I suck at this game.
And it's your game too.
Yeah, I know. I thought I was going to be awesome at it. Okay, so
that just means I'm unpredictable.
Very. So if I was to rate the show, I would give it. I'm going to leave you in suspense.
Yeah.
And that's why I gave it that rating.
Is it recording? Yeah, it is recording. Okay. It is recording.
So I was trying to do something seamless there.
I know. Well, you said it would leave you in suspense.
Yeah.
And I was holding my numbers in ready. The baby's been taken care of.
Yeah, Jack sensed what I was about to give it and was like, I protest.
So what are you going to give it?
So I would give the show, a 6. He's good. Kid's good. Yeah, it was enjoyable enough. I liked it.
So
will I ever watch it again? Probably not.
I don't think this is when I'll necessarily revisit. Although I'm kind of curious to see where they'll take the character in the future, and hopefully that'll be stuff I find more interesting. So let's start. Like, if you've not seen the show, it's on Disney Plus. 6 episodes. It's actually kind of a quick watch for.
They're like an hour an episode, so yeah.
It's 40-ish minutes.
Yeah.
So you'll get it done. It's definitely a quicker watch than Stranger Things.
Totally. So, oh yeah.
So pause it, watch it, or don't watch it, or just kind of use us as your springboard to make your own opinions.
No,
Don't do that.
Subscribe, comment, do all the stuff. Please, help us out. Help a brother out. Anyways.
Not when you say it like that. All right, so.
How would you say it?
I don't know. So. And this is one in which I'm like, Kamala Khan was interesting. Her parents were interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Bruno and Nakia, whatever. They were interesting characters. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. The show itself seemed very YA to me. Young adult.
Yes.
Which I don't know. Sure, obviously. She's a younger character. She's going to be skewed younger. But that just kind of made the entire show seem like one of those weird shows that you'd watch on a streaming service that's like totally got their teenager problems. I don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested in Kamala Khan's 3 love interests in this show. I mean, I don't fucking care who teenagers date. That's not interesting to me.
She only had 2.
She had 3. Bruno,
Mm-hmm.
the Jin kid, and then the Red Dagger over in Karachi.
I thought they were more of just like pals.
Yeah, but there was that kind of like thing, and it's I don't give a shit. Like I even hate love triangles.
Yeah,
because that's done all the fucking time, and I'm so bored of it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But that's an old cynical person thing who you've seen 30 years of movies, and they keep doing that shit. You're just like, stop it.
I mean, you have to. It's an old horse, but it keeps pooping out eyes. So
it's not shit and gold.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I think. I mean, it skews younger. So I mean, when you're a younger kid, you've not seen that trope a million fucking times.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't bother you as much.
If there was like a Nickelodeon version of like the Disney Plus service, I would definitely see that show being like on it.
Yeah.
That said, like I did think it was enjoyable, but like, let me give you a frame of reference of what I know about Miss Marvel.
Okay.
So when they made that horrible Avengers game, and she was like the character that was supposed to be the outside person.
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was a character that was created for that game.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know anything at all about Kamala Khan.
Okay.
And like when they showed the character, I was like, oh, okay, that's supposed to be like the John Every person that has like powers, that's like following the Avengers around. Then when I heard they were making a TV show, I was like, was that game that good to make a character off it? And then that's when I started actually like figuring out.
Yeah, reading into it.
Yeah. But yeah, I had no fucking clue who the character was. Plus, like, when they introduced her, I was like, they already have stretchy people, you know?
But I mean, they already have people that can fly and punch. And they love that one.
Yeah, and then they keep doing the fucking thing where it's like, if you have the power, then
Yeah,
your bad guy has to be another person with that power.
Yeah, which I'm not sure why they changed the power. So they changed her power. That instantly caps the top I'm ever going to give it to an 8. Like there's nothing you're going to do to this show that makes me forgive changing her powers.
So let me ask you this: is there anything in the comic books that have anything about that band?
I think it's an old Captain Marvel thing. I think he had the nega bands. I don't know what the fuck they are, other than like Kree Tech or something like that.
But does her character?
No.
Like
No,
the thing that's
no.
on her arm right there, is
No,
the band?
No, no, she doesn't have the band.
Okay.
She's an Inhuman. She got her powers from the Terrigen Mist, and she didn't put on a bangle, and it didn't awaken anything in her.
So you might still get your wish, like the band might just be a catalyst.
But she's still already doing stuff with what they call it the Noor, where she's like walking on platforms, and while she like embiggens, she's wearing it like a costume, like she's wearing like an energy construct. She's more Green Lanterning than she is Mr. Fantasticing.
Yeah, no, I saw that too, but like the very fact that they were like, you're an Inhuman or you're a Gen, and the fact of I checked your blood and you have a mutation. The very fact that that's there means that there's going to be something more to her than just the bands.
Yes, which I'm glad. Like when it first seemed like she was getting her powers from the bands, I'm like, that's fucking stupid. But it's episode 1, so we'll see how it goes. And then they introduced the Jinn, and I'm like, okay. And they were going through the names of the Jinn. I'm like, we're called like this and this. I'm like, ooh, maybe they'll throw in like an Inhuman real quick, just as like a, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like we're called like the what were they, the const? I don't remember. I can't remember what they're called. For the group name of them, but they throw this one, Inhuman, and then like the Jinn, and then like
they were called
their group name. It's like Con something or other.
The Crapnecks.
No.
I don't know. It doesn't list what they were called.
No, it was like their group name. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, Jinn should be interesting. Maybe we'll see where these people go as villains, because I don't know what you think of when you think of Jinn. I think of like Ifrit. I think of like genies. I think of
genies.
like Marids. I think of Tao. I think of them having elemental powers. So what do these people do?
Nothing of that.
They pulled weapons. Like, she's using a belt as a whip. this guy made a mace appear, and now they're just like swinging. I'm like, this is so fucking boring.
I mean, yeah. I like this review. Someone said give it a chance, and I did. Still, nope. Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I was able to give it a slightly better rating just for the fact of I didn't know anything about it. Going into it, it was just like it was a blank slate. There was no expectations there for me whatsoever. I agree with you on the fact of I guess it's just because I'm an old ass man. I don't want to see kid shit anymore. I don't want to see kid problems. Like, but it is a coming of age story. It is, I need to have my own independence. You need to trust me and stuff like that. I thought it was weird how the mother went from you have responsibilities, you have duties, and it's like, oh, if you want to go out and save people, go out and save people. Yeah. Like I thought that shift was a bit like it was almost like neck breakingly fast.
It seems so. What was it? The Daredevil seasons were like 13 episodes. Mm-hmm. That was too much. You definitely felt some stretchy bits in there. Stretchy bits. This one, they've started putting out 6 episodes, and now it seems like too few.
So are you saying that Daredevil had more stretchy bits than Miss Marvel?
She did. It did. But which is kind of weird because Obi-Wan should have been a movie because 6 episodes was too many. So I don't know. 6 episodes was too many for Obi-Wan. 6 episodes was too few for this because there was a lot of... Who was the villain in this fucking show? Was it Damage Control or was it the Jinn?
That's a good question. I mean, if I was to say who the villain was, I think the villain was the Jinn.
Yeah, they were done in episode 5. They introduced in episode 3, done in episode 5.
Yeah, but then her son, episode 6, had the clear path to like take the wrong choice. Yeah. And the power of love and the power of understanding like brought him back to the side of good. And we don't even know if that's where he's going to end up because he went back to the daggers.
He went to the red daggers, yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think it was episode 4. You're kind of introduced to a person that could have been her mentor, and I recognized him from something. I don't even remember what it was.
Was it the leader of the Red Daggers?
Yeah, the leader of the Red Daggers. I recognized him from something. Do you know who?
So the actor. So I pulled up the actors just. But this is where we're going to lose like all of our viewership because there is a lot of content.
I mean, a lot. Most of these people, I've never seen in anything before.
So,
but I think the guy whose name I don't even remember.
So it was a...
No, that's the brother.
That's the brother. I really liked him.
He was pretty good. I liked the main cast. I liked them. They were the interesting part. It was the plot was bad.
That's not him, is it?
No. I mean,
He's a good-looking dude.
I mean, if you go back and just go up to episodes, and then he was in episode 4. And then look at the cast list for episode 4 because it'll cut out some of the...
Was that him, Waleed?
It might have been... No.
That looks like him.
That might have been him.
Then you have Hassan.
Yeah, and then Red Dagger, yeah. I think it might have been Waleed. Because he's a guy that looked familiar. Like I'd seen him play a mentor in something before. But he came in and he was going to be like maybe the mentor-ish figure. Mm-hmm. And they introduced him in that episode. And then he died that episode. So I'm like, whatever. That's a character that maybe I would give a shit about died the episode he showed up. It's like, too bad. I mean, maybe if this was a 8-episode series and he was like in episode 2. And then he died in episode like 6. Maybe it would have meant something. But it's like, I'm here to kind of show you what the Jinn are trying. Oh, I'm dying. I'm like, okay, bye. I guess.
So
see ya.
Here's how we'll know. So he was in 2 episodes as Waleed.
That might not have been because I think he was dead in the episode he was introduced.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I instantly liked him too.
Because he was an interesting character.
Well, it's not only that, but it's like I liked how it started out with like, oh, okay, you showed up and I'm going to take you out. Oh, okay, you're this person. Let me go back and show you to my base of operations. Instead of being the guy that's like, I'm not sure about you. He was just like, oh yeah, no, we know what's up with that band. Come on, let's give you some background. I like that he was the guy that was like, we've kind of been expecting you, so let's fill you in on what you need to know. Yeah.
And for what, I think he could have been interesting as a mentor character because he had some kind of cool scenes after that. But at the beginning, he was exposition guy. Let me tell you what the Jinn are up to and why this is a bad idea.
Here's the battle and
yeah. And then they had the battle scene, which I think was kind of amusing, where like he was running off doing his own thing, and they like picked him up in that little tiny car or whatever. It was some of the stuff was fun, but I didn't care about the Jinn. hadn't really came about Damage Control, because I mean Damage Control wasn't even unified in what the fuck they were doing.
So I hated everything with Damage Control.
It was kind of stupid.
Well, they're trying to control the damage before the damage was even there. So they're not technically Damage Control.
No, it's more of like they're the mutant registry.
Yeah, so what I think, and this is the part that I can get excited about, because I fucking love Damage Control. I loved those comics. I thought they were so fucking good. They've only been cock-teasing fucking Damage Control now for what, the last 10 years?
Since Homecoming.
Yeah, or it's been a long time.
They name-dropped Damage Control in Homecoming, and they might have hinted at it before.
And ABC picked up the rights to do a Damage Control show that never came out.
Because there was another show that was too similar to it, I think, right?
Well, I think...
The Alan Tudyk one?
I'm not sure, but I remember they were teasing it, and then it never happened, and I think it just got shelved.
Yeah.
But and I got to turn this off because whatever's going on top of that screen is driving me nuts. I love Damage Control. I did not like what they were doing with it, but that said, when the guy was like, "This is too hot. There's too many people. Yada yada yada. You need to pull the fuck out of there." And then she kept doing it. And then he was like, "You didn't fucking listen to me. Now we've got all this fucking press. Pull your people out now."
Yeah.
I think that this show could be the establishment of them putting together their little prime directive. We don't go in there. We're not fucking Fed agents. We're not trying to stop anything.
They're literally, shit got blown up. They go and clean it up.
We go in and we fix it. And I thought that was a very unique concept for a comic back in the day.
Yeah, it seems like what they were doing with this one at this particular time. It reminded me of the Superhero Registration Act, and they're more taking the spot that S.H.I.E.L.D. did in the comic line, where they're kind of like, you're an unregistered superhero going around doing superhero shit. We need to lock this shit down and kind of like get your name, where you're from, and all this kind of stuff, and get you registered. Otherwise, you're in prison.
Well, they've been doing that since the Spider-Man thing, because the dude that was like, the guy that was in control or whatever, or the dude who was like interrogating them at the beginning of the show, it's like the same dude that was in Homecoming.
Was he?
Or not Homecoming, it was the one.
No Way Home?
Yeah, No Way Home.
Okay.
It's the same cop.
Okay.
So,
but that's not what Damage Control does.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't even think that's what it was in the comic book, but in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Tony Stark put together, these people to basically control.
Yeah. It's like, we blew up New York, sorry.
Yeah, well, it's not only that, but it's like you put it back together, but you also like keep
all the artifacts.
Yeah, keep all the artifacts and guns from like getting into fucking people's hands and shit. But I did like that they put in Damage Control. I didn't like how they utilized them.
I didn't like how they used them at all.
But yeah, I'd say that they were the bad guys too.
Yeah, well, it's, I guess, something that kind of bugged me too. Because I mean, you've got your two villains thing going on, which it's hard to pull off in 6 episodes. I think the 6 episodes things really hurt this. But you have the scene at their wedding where she's fighting the Jinn, and then Damage Control walks in like and drops all the Jinn. So I'm like, these guys aren't fucking villains. Because I mean, Damage Control just walked in and gunned them all down in like a second. So instantly made me not these people aren't threats remotely.
Right.
Because I mean, A, their powers suck, because their powers were I can make a weapon appear, and B, they got gunned down by people with guns, like no problem. And like that scene was 5 seconds that they gunned them all down, like whatever.
Yeah, but then like even to add insult to injury, is they went back to like wherever it was they were escorting them to, like put them in their cell blocks or whatever, and like they took the one guy out that was escorting him,
like the 1 or 2 guards,
and then they just snuck the fuck
and then
out
just
of
left.
There. Yeah, they just left. They got into a stairwell and they just left. And I thought it was weird, like if they're that deep into a place, like, and it's supposed to be like a prison or like a containment area.
Apparently the door's just
there's like a dude like eating a fucking sandwich, and they like go walking by, and he's just like, is anybody gonna do anything about that? I mean, no. Okay.
I'm getting away.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like 5:15, and I get off at like 5:20.
Yeah, it's a bigger case of not my fucking job. So I'm supposed to control damage. They don't seem like they're like spreading any crumbs or anything right now. We're just gonna let them go.
So it just seems like I imagine the budget for the show is not particularly huge. So instead of showing a facility for Damage Control, they show a brick hallway, and then they show them leaving like into an alley.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I guess this isn't a scene.
Well, it's like
not really.
To me, they did a lot of yada yada yadaing, and then it's like, so yeah, these guys get away and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Now they're back and they're
in Karachi.
Yeah. So I think that's where it was disjointed with me. The things I loved about the show is like her little drawings and stuff like that. Like I like how they animated those little like in between scenes and stuff.
That was kind of, I like them. The texting was kind of interesting.
Yeah, like there was
a more interesting way than just showing a little pop up with a text.
yeah. When she was doing her plan in the last episode, I loved all that. Standout in the show to me was her brother.
Really?
I fucking loved him. I thought he was great. Because I liked when she was like, I am Miss Marvel, and they're like, who? And she's like, I'm fucking Nightlight. And he was like, no, really? Wow. And the dad was like, oh, God, oh. And she's like, Mom, you told him. And he was like, of course, Mom told us. Like, I thought he was funny enough. I thought he was hilarious. I also thought it was funny when the one kid for the Jin kid was like, I'm your cousin blah that was related to blah. Oh, and then we watched like whatever the show was.
They have the British accent going, or
the
Pakistani accent.
The Great British Bake Off or whatever. He's like, yeah, what's the great? And he's like, oh, you love that show too? But like at the end of it, when he was like just staring at the kid, and he's like, do you even watch the Great British Bake Off? Like I thought his character was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I also liked the father as well.
Yeah, he was
when
good.
When he came in as like the Hulk or whatever, and he's like, I'm the Hulk, and then she just kind of like brushed him off, and he was kind of like all dejected and sad. I'm like, oh, don't make your dad sad. He's awesome.
Well, it's like he was. I liked his dialogue at the end of the show when he was like, do you know why we named you Kamala? Because you were our little Marvel, and like that kind of punched me in a personal place because we had a lot of problems conceiving, so I like that I like a lot of the messages in the show because the thing that came up again in the show was family trauma. What the older generation puts on the younger generation, and the weight's too much for the younger generation to bear. Thinking that the younger generation should walk a certain path, somehow expecting that the younger generation can walk a better path than the path you walked. There was a lot of great messages there.
Or just kind of remember, like, when I was a kid, I got into shit, so my kid's gonna get into shit too. So therefore, I have to never give them any room. To like to be themselves.
I have to hover so they can't, develop a personality.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that Amber and I we've said that we're not going to do to Jackson, but it's like if he walks in, he's like, I'm going to go and, go party with my friends tonight. And it'd be like, don't do this, don't do that. Otherwise, have a good time. But if he walks in the house and he's like, I'm going to go smoke crack with my friends tonight, be like, let's have a dialogue about that. It's things that are like.
Yeah, you want to give him enough room to mess up, but not make mess ups that are so big to be like, I'm going to drink and drive. Like that's a murder one. That's one where you die. So let's not do that one.
Yeah. Well, there's an old saying. It's hold on loosely, but don't let go. Yeah. If you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. It's from a song.
Yeah, it's not, the way you said it sounded like lyrics.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I got out of the show. I thought the little girl who played Kamala, I think she was adorable. Her friend. I wasn't crazy about Bruno.
Bruno's all right.
He was okay, but like I hate the thing where he just kept walking in on her, like, cozying up with another dude. This dude is obviously like heads over heels for you, and it's like I hate the obvious friend zone stuff.
No, that goes into the very classic love triangle one is where you've got the one person, the person they've always been friends with, that they've never said their feelings with, and then the new person
that this person likes. And then the new person likes the girl, and then the old guy who's in the friend zone, the girl's not aware that she thinks of him that way, but then the new guy is not aware that this guy like hates him because it's garbage.
I want to see the love triangle must up. I have person A likes person B, but person C moved into town. Now person B likes person C, but you know what? Person C likes person A, and then it ends in polyamory.
That'd be
Throw that one out, and then never do it again, just once.
Yeah, just to see. Maybe we can actually change the formula.
But yeah, you throw it out, change up the formula, never do it again because it's not a good idea. It's a twist. What a twist!
What a twist! But yeah, the show had enough positive messages in it where I really liked it. It had likable characters.
Yeah, well, I think the strong aspect of the show is the characters. The weak aspect is the plot. And unfortunately, the plot's there through all of it, not really doing much for you. You're just kind of getting character moments that are interesting to watch. Well, kind of strung together through kind of a shit plot. Well, not even shit plot. It's just boring.
Well, like the biggest thing she does with her power is like make the platforms.
Yeah.
But like there's so much good shit she can do with those powers. Like that particular power set. I know you don't like
I don't
them,
like it.
but like it's fucking hardened light. She's manipulating hardened light.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but like when she makes like the armor and she's like standing there and like the big fisted like mech looking thing, dude, you could wrap yourself in fucking armored light and just basically destroy everything in your fucking path.
I don't fucking like it.
Like she's so overpowered. And then somehow they didn't really explain it. The whole mom's gonna do the thing she does to give her kid powers. Like I didn't get that whole thing. The kid that she liked.
Oh, yeah, I don't... who fucking knows?
I don't know.
And then you hear her voice, even after she got disintegrated, so maybe she's not gone. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Like...
And then they ended up being sparkly powers, too. And I'm like, well, if you didn't make her Mr. Fantastic, because you didn't want to reuse powers, and then you just put another person with the same fucking powers in the show, like, stop that shit. I hate, like, the thing that's boring about, like, the earlier... Iron Man's is like, here's Iron Man, here's evil Iron Man. How about Iron Man 2? Here's Iron Man. Here's evil Iron Man with whips. He's got whips. The thing that made Thor fun is you had Thor versus Loki, and they were different people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, hers was soft edge hardened light, and his was jagged edge hardened light that was gold and not,
Just make her stretchy. I miss the stretchy. Because, I mean, she also was a shapeshifter. Like, after the Terrigen Mist hits her, she looks like Miss Marvel. And that's why people are like, oh, it's Miss Marvel. Because that's who Carol Danvers was before she was Captain Marvel. She was Miss Marvel. So in the comic, she'd like, first save Zoe looking like Miss Marvel. And people are like, you don't really look it. But she could change the way she looks. She can shrink. She can embiggen. She can make her arms bigger. She can make weapons out of her hands.
I think you're going to get your wish. I think that this first season of the show is like just to basically bring in her character and establish, the bands. Because I think we're at the point now where we need to talk about the Stinger. So Amber and I have thoughts about that. So if you're still watching and you haven't watched the show, like seriously, shame on you at this point, because here comes the biggie big. But like I thought that ending was neat.
There's not enough plot going on for anything to be spoiled.
Yeah, well, okay, but we have our theories about what happened at the end.
Okay.
So at the end of it, she gets, I guess the pager goes off in it.
Yeah, and she gets like ribboned away or something like that.
Yeah, and she gets like whisked away, and then she goes, like, she falls to the closet, and then you have Brie Larson get out of the closet as Captain Marvel, and she's just like looking very confused. Like she even looks at her wrist or like at her hands, and she looks very confused about like where she's at.
Yeah.
So Amber and I seem to think that. Well, first I want to know what you think happened there.
So we're always told about there being two bracelets or something like that. I wonder if Captain Marvel touched the other one, and they like swapped positions or something like that.
Yeah, so that's what we thought. So like. Apparently there's a movie coming out called The Marvels, and we're wondering if Kamala is going to get pulled to that movie because of that
Whatever
part.
happens, yeah. Because Marvels is supposed to be Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Photon. Who is Monica Rambeau?
Yeah, Monica. Okay, so
From what I understand, anyway.
So yeah, so we think that she was holding on to one band while she was holding on the other, and because they're separated, that they were teleporting to each other, but instead of like basically one going to the other, they just basically went.
They like swapped or something.
Yeah, and then you have Miss Marvel, who's on the other side that was like got teleported to where she was, but then now you're gonna have Kamala on the other side where she's going to be in the place where both bands are. And
yeah, because Captain Marvel wasn't holding.
Yeah, she didn't have anything. So, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think it was like the law of equivalent exchange. Someone had to go through for someone else to come, but that's what we think is going to happen. How she gets pulled over into that movie.
That was my thought. I mean, it's also just, especially since they're definitely seeming to go more cosmic with this particular thing, which like with Shang-Chi, they made his little bands kind of cosmic, and they even had like the Stinger at the end talking about like we don't even know what those bands are.
There's a signal.
Yeah.
Coming out of them. So
we got to throw in this bangle and have it be
So you and Amber were talking earlier about how you were like, okay, well maybe like the Mandarin's rings are like that too, and because they had in Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi or whatever, like when he's throwing the bands around his dad, it's like the 10 individual rings that he's throwing around, and like they could change size and shape. So it was hinted in that maybe those were the 10 rings that the Mandarin wears.
Yeah, I hate those things so much.
Really?
I think we've talked about it before, but like the Mandarin had 10 rings. One of them shoots like fire, one of them shoots ice, and it's stupid. And I wanted stupid. I wanted you to have an old Chinese kind of like noble-ish looking man, or even like modernize him a little bit, just so he's not like a stereotype or whatever. But I want to have like 10 magic rings, and they do stupid magic shit, and then you have wizard versus like martial artists. Because you ended up with the same thing I just said I hate about Iron Man, is you ended up with Shang-Chi versus Shang-Chi.
Right.
Like Kung Fu versus Kung Fu. I mean, he's an Asian guy. He's got to know Kung Fu, right? The same thing that kind of bugged me about when they were doing Iron Fist. And they're like, it's this guy, Danny Rand. You got to make him Asian because only Asians know Kung Fu. It's like, no, stop it. You can make your Asians not do Kung Fu. Please. Like Awkwafina, she was the best part of Shang-Chi. She wasn't doing Kung Fu.
Yeah, she didn't know shit.
No.
But she got really good really fast.
With archery.
And like, well, with archery, but like she was the one that like hit the fucking monster at the end, like in that right spot. But it's like I was fine with it.
I don't want to. I want to see people with different power sets. So I wanted to see the martial artist versus like the crazy wizard guy, because that's more interesting.
No, I agree with you 100%.
And then you go to like Doctor Strange, it's magician versus magician again, and that's kind of boring. And it's the fun, different parts that you do with it that kind of make things more interesting.
Yeah, it just seems to be a rut that.
Yeah,
and I think that's why people are getting superhero fatigue. Is like you can't figure out how to mix fire and water.
Yeah.
And make it interesting, so we're having to do like fire and fire.
That's what I was kind of I was hoping for the Jinn in this to be doing stuff, because I mean, at least if they're like shooting fire, they're controlling like fire elements, and maybe she's controlling the light element or something like that, and maybe make it like related but different. And then they just swung it. Like he swung a hammer.
All right, so
and it sucked, and I fucking hate it. The Jinn were so boring.
So the writer of that storyline was like, okay, so this dude, he's going to have like a fire fucking whip that he's like controlling, and then she's
Here's
gonna
how much money I have. How much can you do with $10?
So we'll turn it into a belt. He's got a belt.
All right.
That's a whip. Got it.
That's in my budget.
All right, and then this chick, she's going to have like a club, or this guy's gonna have a club made of like earth.
That $10 is for everybody.
Okay, we'll just give him a sturdy vase that he's like swings around. Got it. All right, so yeah, like
make it a vase. Vase sounds expensive.
Vase it is. Someone please go to Walmart and buy this thing.
That's my like. If someone hands me like a vase, and it costs $3, it's a vase. If they hand me a vase and it's like $1,000, that's a vase.
It sounds to me like this.
It's the pretentious quota.
What's the whole debate of like, are you going to Target or are you going to Target?
Yeah.
So I'm going to fucking Target.
It's the vase is the expensive one. It's like, oh look, he's got a vase.
Yeah. Well, in my area of town, Target is Target, but in the rich part of town,
it's Target.
It's Target. But you walk inside and they're the fucking same. Yeah, when they said the whole part where they were like, oh, over time we've been known by many names.
Clandestine.
The clandestine.
That's
the Jinn. And when she said that, I was like, oh,
fuck
man.
yeah.
Are
We're
we
gonna
about to
get
get like crazy fucking floating fucking people? Like, are we going to see some wishes and shit?
Yeah, some like cool magic shit. I mean, that's not even necessarily like granting wishes, but at least like the Jinn have like elemental powers. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fucking dope.
Well, I at least wanted to see
I think there was even like 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
One for each element.
I don't know. It's so. Here's my thought on that. So earlier, I also heard, or you said that like after she went away, we thought the character was dead. But you could still hear her whispering.
Yeah.
Like my thought is that if the guy said when you open the door for them to go back, that there would be like an explosion of energy, which was translated into basically it's their world overtaking our world, like reformatting our world.
Yeah.
But what if just touching the fissure was enough to pull your soul through, but your body is prime material, so it breaks down? So her whispering, it could have been that her essence went back to her side.
But her physical body's dead.
Yeah, her physical body's dead, but her essence is back on her side.
Could be a cool thing if they put that in the show.
They might.
Yeah, well...
If it gets to a season 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, it's kind of like doing stuff in later seasons isn't going to make the plot in this one kick off. I mean, the plot is just the weakest part, which is bad or sad because like the characters are cool. I like the characters.
So I had an argument with somebody. So I had an idea for my own show, and I was actually thinking about writing it up and like trying to pitch it to Netflix. And like my buddy was like, "Let me hear it." And I said, "This is going to be a show. It's going to be in show format, but I'm going to write it in books. And each book is going to be from the point of view of like different people." And I said, "This is the plot for the first book." And my friend went, "It sounds interesting, but it sounds boring." And I said, "Well, it's all to set up what happens in season 2." He said, "But if you can't sell the people in season 1, there's not a season 2." And when he said that, I was kind of like, "You're right."
Yeah.
I said, so then I would have like flashback scenes be like action sequences. And he's like, well, that brings more to it. He said, that does not lend to a book medium. That lends to a TV show medium. If you're, so like we had this long debate about it. And I think that's where this show, I think it has potential. And I think if it got to a second season, it would get very, very interesting. But from what I've seen, the reviews that came out, some of the talk that's coming out on it, I don't know if it's going to get there.
I don't know because I think they put it out at a very bad time. Like, while Obi-Wan Kenobi was coming out.
On the second episode.
Not like the thing was like in the third or whatever. Like they were in the middle of Obi-Wan Kenobi and they started showing Miss Marvel on the same day. And then that was around the time that Doctor Strange was coming out in theaters. The Boys was on Amazon coming out weekly. Stranger Things just came out.
So for the Stranger Things and the Boys and stuff like that, that's just competition putting out content that's supposed to rival it, but Disney literally cut their own fucking legs out from underneath them.
Not only with Obi-Wan, but also it's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And then this last episode coming out after Thor: Love and Thunder, like they're putting out a lot of stuff that's competing with their own shows.
Yeah.
And then I think they're just gonna. I don't know if they didn't have much faith in it, or if they're hoping to play like the guilt card potentially as well. To be like, why don't you want to go see the Pakistani girl show? It's because you're all because you guys fucking suck.
I believe that plays a lot into it, but I think that they listen too much to the chatter that comes out before and like right at the first episode, and I think they immediately go into fucking damage control mode, trying to recover whatever they can for the rest of the series. And I think that there was enough fucking neckbeards that were like, I don't like this and I don't like that and this is terrible and I don't like that they changed a race in this, I don't like that they changed this part of the storyline. And I am not I think your complaints about the show are completely valid. Don't sell me Iron Man and then he comes on with fucking, I don't know, fucking...
Yeah, well, I think that's... So yeah, like...
Don't give me the bait and switch.
So like, why the fuck does it matter for powers change? So a lot of times when you're watching like a movie and the movie gets popular, the movie goes back and overrides the comic because they want to make the comic mirror what the layman movie watcher knows.
Right.
So you've got a lot of times where they've kind of retroactively changed people's stories and comics to match more what it was like in the movies. So I foresee that like if this thing pops off, them going back to the comics and changing Miss Marvel, and I don't want them to do that because I like Miss Marvel. Like I've picked up 2 of the comics. So I don't have a lot of them. I want to read more because like the initial run with her, which is the No Normal, which happens to be the name of the last episode is No Normal.
It's bargain priced.
It was bargain priced. I got it for Christmas.
Graphic novels.
Those graphic novels.
Oh, cool.
I think 5 issues a piece, so there's like 10 issues there. I think she's very interesting, and I want to read more of the comics. I don't know that I need another season of the show. Her being in other stuff would be fine, because I know she's also been in superhero teams like the Champions and stuff like that. I'd be more interested in seeing in like film form her with other people rather than them giving us just stories about her, because I don't think they did a great job with the plot. But I like the character, so give me the character with other characters in a different, more interesting plot.
I think you're going to get a second season of the show.
Yeah, maybe they'll pull it together.
If her character is interesting enough to make her one of the 3 leads of a movie.
Yeah, well,
Plus,
How bad did Captain Marvel do that they're jamming 2 other Marvels in there?
I personally like Brie Larson.
She was fine.
Well, she's
okay.
been
She was
she's been in
okay.
a lot of movies that I love. You know, she's been in like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming first.
Well, of course. I mean, you know, but like
She was in Community.
yeah, like she's a good actress. But like whenever you watch any of the interviews that she does with like any of the other actors, apparently she's hard to get along with because
Yeah,
they always seem very uncomfortable around her. And I hate that people can't separate the art from the artist.
It's hard sometimes.
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're saying. So, like the whole thing that happened with the girl that was in The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Like
Moses Ingram. No.
No.
In The Mandalorian, not Obi-Wan. Well, Cara Dune is the first name that came to mind.
yeah, well, so her.
Yeah.
I liked Cara Dune. I thought she was fucking awesome.
Yep.
I thought the actress was doing a good job as the character. If I work someplace and the workplace is like, I need you to temper down some of this stuff on social media, I personally would be like, fuck you. But when you're working for a company like Disney, where it's all entertainment, and we're trying to sell you this particular package, you know, like, I think there's a different level. You're making Disney money at that point.
Yeah.
You're not making fucking Best Buy money at that point. So it's like sometimes you have to rein some of that shit in.
Yeah. I mean, she should rein it in, but also, I mean,
You should be free to say whatever the fuck you want to.
but I mean, if that's a thing, it should be a policy, like when they sign up, and then we don't see their contracts. Because I mean, other people in The Mandalorian were saying shit on social media as well, but it's things that people on those platforms agree with, so it doesn't matter. But then she also gets on and says people don't agree with. Now it's an issue. Well, and it's all stupid. Like,
it is.
Stop. Get off social media, please. I just want to watch you in a show.
Yeah, it is stupid, and I don't. So I said that whole thing. You can't separate the art from the artist, but like, you know,
it depends. I could have watched more shows with her in it, and I would have been able to separate that part. But if they came up with a new, do you want to watch this old Cosby movie? I'd be like, I'm good. No more Cosby movies, please. Like when you watch this Harvey Weinstein vehicle, no, I'm good. Not really into that. But if you're like, do you want to see this person? Like James Gunn said some stupid shit, but that was like 10 years ago. And like, do you want to watch another James Gunn movie? I like the movies enough. I don't care what stupid shit he said.
Well, I mean, you have to allow people room for growth.
Yes, that's with things being on the internet, being right there, and it doesn't matter that underneath it says like 2010 underneath it. It's tagged on the internet. They just saw it. You just said it to them.
Yeah, but it's like people still haven't figured out the fact that anything you put on the internet is there forever. Like
it's going to be new to somebody.
Yeah, like
they're going to take it like you just said it.
Yeah, and I don't, and this might be somewhat controversial, but I'm not crazy about woke culture, only for the fact of
Me neither.
I think that there are some things that are overdue that need to be said that is being said, but I think it's getting taken too far. Like it's kind of. You went from a society that basically it was okay to like talk about this or talk about that, and then eventually we had a generation where they said hardline stop right now, and I think that's why everything has been so politicized and people have drawn clear fucking lines to one side or the other because it's like you do what we say because it's the right thing, and
it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gotten fucking out of control.
But I think it goes back to what I was saying last video that we recorded at least. 20% of the people say 80% of the shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's gotten to the point where, I mean, can't we just be fucking normal, loving, caring human beings? Like, can't we just like when you say if you tell a joke where you have to go, it's probably not a great fucking joke.
Don't say that joke.
Like, and I'm not trying to preach to anybody. It's just.
If you do that beforehand, tell me a shitty joke, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Don't be surprised when I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm not gonna tell you to necessarily knock that shit off. I might be like, dude, fuck off, and then I fuck off. But I'm not gonna tell you what you can't do, whatever.
Yeah, it's America. You can do whatever the fuck you want to, as long as you're not like hurting other people.
Yeah, but be ready to accept the consequences.
Yeah, but you have the freedom of speech, but you don't have the freedom of fucking judgment from what you say.
No.
So
say what you want. I'm gonna judge the shit out of you.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I think there needs to be a little bit, the thing, and the reason I said that I don't like woke culture is the fact of I think it's killing comedy, because like there are there's a lot of people out there who have said certain things that platforms like Twitter and shit have tried to like destroy their careers for like one thing they said that they take out of context, you know, and
or it's from a long time ago, or
yeah, and it's just it's crazy. Like it's crazy some of the stuff that pops up. But that said,
yeah, a bit of a tangent.
yeah, oh no, it's a huge tangent, and it's my father always said a long time ago. He says if you want to keep friends, don't talk about religion or politics. Like, if you stay away from those two fucking conversation points, you'll have that friend forever.
Yeah.
But now that seems like that's the only thing to fucking talk about anymore. Well, the three things: religion, politics, and fucking, COVID.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to
Which
be...
got tangled up into politics somehow.
Yeah, so...
Well, and, yeah, I mean, it's...
The fucking world has got a lot of unrest in it. There's a lot of people that just...
And I think people have been... You see everyone's... Like, back in the day, there was one time you could watch the news, like, for the most part. It was, like, in the evening. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting that shit all the time. No news had to be entertainment. And now it's filtering to you all the time. But news isn't entertaining. It's fucking news. Yeah. So they had to fucking zhuzh it up and start giving you opinions and news and all this kind of... It's shit went downhill.
What happened to the days of Walter I'm not going to be that guy. But I will say, like... I think one of the best sayings I heard, and I'm going to get it all wrong, but it said if you don't listen to the news, you're uninformed. But if you listen to only one particular channel of news, you're misinformed. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a lose-lose.
Yeah. Because you're going to hear the people saying the things you like to say, so you're going to watch those.
Yeah.
And then it's not even news at that point in time.
But even then, if they say like 80% of stuff you like, you're like, yeah. Like, it's kind of like, I imagine Scientology in the beginning. You shouldn't probably be talking about Scientology, but I remember in the beginning, it's like, yeah, we want to get the bad stuff out of you so you can be a better person. And you're like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. And then later on, they're like, okay, so a guy named Xenu and shit.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like, well, I guess if I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound, so let's just swallow all the fucking weird doctrine. But
yeah, which I mean, when I'm more middle left and just hearing a bunch of shit just makes me sad. Because it's all awful.
Well, I'm right in the middle. There's stuff I like in the right. There's stuff that I like in the left. I think we should have a third party. So
it's not going to work.
I know it'll never work because
you need to change the voting system entirely.
Yeah, no,
so that you can vote for other people.
We're not going to fix that here. Let's talk about Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel. So, life is fucked. And why do I care about entertainment? Because life fucking sucks. And at least for a few hours, I can dive into something I like and just leave that other soul-crushing shit away and just kind of enjoy my things. Which is, why do you care if they change your powers? Because life sucks. I just want her to be stretchy. I think it would be interesting to see a nice little stretchy character. I think it kind of goes along with the, like, if I was listing off powers, and it'd be like, you could run at, like, 50 miles an hour, or you could be super stretchy. Which one are you going to pick?
I think I'm going to run at 50 miles
an hour. I know it's not even that great, but it's still better than stretchy. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like stretchy gets kind of like a bad rap as just not being like super interesting. And I wanted to see it done a bit more in like an interesting way. Make stretchy cool.
It's not sexy. I think that's why we're never going to get a good Fantastic Four movie is like none of their powers are sexy.
Well, I think that is kind of the point. Because I mean, so she is a young girl going through puberty essentially. And you're expecting like, man, I'm going to get all this cool shit when I go through puberty. No, you got stretchy powers. And that's not like, you're not flying around. You're not shooting beautiful colored beams. You're not like super strong. You're not doing anything glamorous. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of like, you can make your hands look kind of big and maybe that throws off your proportions and people are like, man, you look weird. And that's kind of like learning to accept like what powers you get, even though they're fucking stretchy.
I mean, but there's so much with CG these days. There's so much visually they can do with that to make it fucking cool. I think like throw a punch at somebody, and right before it hits them, your fucking fist divides into a man catcher that like grabs you. And you pull him back in and punch him with the other fist. Like there's a lot that they could do with it.
There's cool stuff in the comic, like when she get embiggen, and she calls it embiggen because she's a nerd, and that's a Simpsons reference.
From what episode?
I don't remember the episode, but it's It was a Simpson episode when they were doing a play, and someone, even the smallest spirit can embiggen the noblest mind, or whatever it is.
Okay.
And then someone said to let Miss Crabapple, like, I don't think embiggen's a word. He's like, it's a perfectly cromulent word. So they made Embiggen, they made Cromulent, and they made Meh too. That's kind of their word.
I love Meh.
Meh. I use that all the time too. I don't use Cromulent as much, but I still use Embiggen.
What's cromulent, basically?
It's perfectly cromulent. I mean, it's acceptable.
Acceptable. Okay. Yeah. Joe. We always said when he died, his fucking tombstone would just be meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe. Here lies Joe.
Meh.
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 And when we told him that, he was like, not bad.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But
so
yeah.
I was kind of looking forward. I'll have to read these comics.
Well, it's a bad bill of sale. If I rent a movie and I want to watch, if I rent a movie and it's a porno, and then like it's basically them just like talking about going out on a date the entire movie, it's like it's not what I just kind of had expectations.
Yeah.
If you watch a movie about Silver Surfer and it's a fucking dude that just wears silver shirts that just surfs
in the ocean, it's like it's not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I don't like when they change powers too much. I mean, sometimes I don't notice, but sometimes I do notice. Like in Captain Marvel, do you remember the sniper lady?
Yes.
Do you know what she is in the comics? She's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, mad scientist lady who like turns into a giant monster and can like fly around and just fuck shits up.
Interesting.
And that's so much fucking better than boring sniper.
Okay.
Do you remember her name? No one would.
No.
But if she turned into a giant fucking monster, her name was Minerva, you might remember that shit.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. This is why I feel for you.
Mm-hmm.
So in I think it was the last season of Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They had a character that I love, Fool Killer.
Okay.
So I've always loved the comic book Fool Killer. I think he's a very interesting character.
Fool Killer or Fool?
Fool
Killer.
Fool
Okay.
Killer. And his whole thing is basically people who are too excessive or like, he is an equalizer.
Okay.
People who are going too far with certain things that they're doing, or if they're being too excessive with what they have the means to do, he equalizes. And he dresses
so it'd be like a Jake Paul sort of person who's just being a douchebag in public and putting it like.
Yeah, like or if it's like a corporation where like it's like their whole mission is like we're saving the pandas, but then like I don't know, they're actually like killing pandas and making you know like his whole thing is it's wherever there is inequality for what you stand for, I will basically rein your ass in. And he's was an anti-hero. He wasn't a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. He had a mission that he believed in. And in the last season of Jessica Jones, they started kind of doing like his shtick, and they even say Fool Killer, but they don't like establish. So like, I liked it, but it wasn't what I wanted.
It wasn't who you would. It wasn't the way he was. It's kind of like they were just using the name, kind of.
Well, I think they established he was Fool Killer, but it wasn't what I read.
Yeah, it was Fool Killer name, not necessarily in who he was.
And I know there are going to be people who disagree with me on that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, it's not what I wanted. But when I realized who he was, when they started setting up like the bits, I was like, this seems like something that Fool Killer would do. And then they actually said it in the show. I was like, holy fuck, like I was over the moon. But then
you see how they changed him.
Yeah. So I know where you're coming from. I know what you're talking about.
I was excited to see stretchy Pakistani girl. I got shiny, sparkly. I'm like, look, my powers are so pretty. I'm like,
maybe second season, man.
Maybe. But I just wanted to be stretchy. That's all I want. Maybe once they get a budget, they'll stretch her out.
Well, I think stretchy is hard to do on camera.
Probably. I mean, for what the Fantastic Four movies were, I thought they did some fun stuff with Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, some of it, like, maybe if I had more of a chiseled jaw, he just kind of, like, shapes himself to look a bit more chiseled. And they do some fun stuff. I mean, they do some stupid, shitty shit with it, too, but...
Yeah, but, like, they always go campy with it.
I mean, the stuff she does in the comic, like, she turns her, like, fists into, like, mallets and shit like that, and she's beating people up, or she's, like, grabs a dumpster when she, like, embiggens and makes her hand bigger and just, like, throws a dumpster at a guy. And then makes fun of him for being smelly.
It's just like a Peter Parker-esque.
It's more of like, can we wrap this up pretty soon? You're kind of rank.
Okay, yeah, if you want to let me borrow them, I'll read them.
No, they're pretty good.
But yeah, I thought she was from that terrible Adventures video game, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they did a TV show, and I was like, yeah, people like her that much?
I have a feeling it was kind of like, we're doing this Avengers game. We're putting out a Miss Marvel show. How about you put Miss Marvel in the lead? And when this game gets super popular, people are going to be super hyped for the show when it comes out.
Let's just do the show anyways.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you kind of need to.
So Marvel, what Nick is saying where you fucked up is that the money you spent giving her powers that she didn't have is money you could have given the Jinn to give them powers that they probably should have had.
It was so cool. They were in the kitchen with like the fire guy could have been like doing the whole Avatar. People love Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And
These could have been the mini Avatar: The Last Airbender guys. It could have had all the benders right there for you.
When the smoke, when the fucking fire extinguisher's gone out, like the fucking air guy could have been like.
Yeah, and blow smoke in your eye. Yeah. Here's smoke in your eye. Like the shit writes itself.
Yeah, there was plenty to work with there, but yeah, as soon as she's like, we've been called many things, and when she said Jinn, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking good.
Fucking Jinn. I'm ready for this shit.
Yeah, but
and again, a lot of it falls back into short episode shit too, because she was like, she met her like, I mean, briefly at the end of one episode, but like, the character was really introduced in one episode. I really want this bangle. I don't think I'm going to give her the bangle. I'm going to murder your ass. One episode.
See, I don't even feel like that was it. I feel like it was like, you have the bangle and it makes you special. Do you even know what it does? And then it's like she had like this whole fostering like mother, I'm going to help you thing. And it was like, oh, she's a really nice lady. I really like her. And then overnight it was like, we're going to kill that bitch and just take it. And it's like, why didn't you just kill her when she trusted you?
Seriously. You flip turn real fucking quick. Whereas if she was introduced in episode 2...
Yeah.
And the turn happened in episode 4.
Well, I mean,
and then 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 were all about that. Like, she was friendly for half a season, and she was a villain for the rest of the half of the season.
Well, I mean, she even did it to her grandmother, her great-great-grandmother. She was like, I love you, take the bangle, run, I will distract them again. And then all of a sudden, it's like,
fuck you, bitch.
You disappeared. Well, I had to do this thing, and it's like, okay, well,
eat knife, motherfucker.
Yeah. We're going to give you some time to think about it, and it's now. Yeah, like...
Maybe you'll think about it better on a full stomach. Full of knife!
Yeah. If she had to wait at that point with her great-great-great-grandmother to the point where she found the bangle, I don't think there would have been a pleasant conversation there. It's like, my mom wants to talk to you. I'm taking you to a place that's like, you know, undisclosed to you to meet my mom, who's like suddenly in the back seat of this car. Yeah, she could have just like, she didn't even know she was back there. She can just be like, gig.
It's like, hey, do you have the bangle? Are you wearing the bangle? It's like, I want to get.
Well, the bangle's on my arm. You can't take it off. Oh, you should have seen how I got it off the person in the fucking in the temple. Yeah. I don't know.
Again, characters interesting. Main characters. I mean, the Jinn I didn't give a shit about. Not really.
Like none of those people.
Red Dad, like the things going on in Karachi, I didn't care all that much. I mean, her grandmother was cool. She was kind of cool.
The great grandmother, or
the
one she went to go visit.
Yeah, her grandmother.
Yeah,
I mean the Jinn lady was only a great grandmother.
Yes. Great,
just once. One great grandmother.
Great grandmother.
Because there's her mother. Then they went to Karachi to visit her mother's mother, so her grandmother, and then the grandmother's mother was the Jinn that got stabbed.
Got it.
So Kamala's great grandmother is a Jinn.
Kamala's great grandmother is a Jinn?
Yes.
How did I miss that?
Did you miss that? Like the lady that got stabbed from the bangle? She was a Jinn. She was one of the ones that came over with the other clandestine.
Well, yes. Mm-hmm. I got that.
Yes, and it only goes up to great grandmother. It's not that far.
So does that mean that the grandmother and mother is also Jinn?
Yes.
So why didn't
because Kamala's a mutant.
Do better, Disney. Just do better.
Well, it's the grandmother could like see shit.
Yeah.
And it kind of like skipped the mother, and then Kamala got some stuff, and then she also got the mutation on top of it.
Did they explain why the mother hated the bangle so much?
I don't remember fully. I think it was just something that her mother was all flighty about, and kind of like looking back to the past and kind of like overlooked the mother. So therefore, the mother just had sour feelings about the grandmother.
Well, they explained the whole thing where it's like your great grandmother used to tell these stories, and she's looked down upon for telling these stories. I tell stories all the time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if anybody hates me because of the stories. Like, there are people who talk about Bigfoot passionately. Like, I've smelt one. I've touched one. Those people aren't fucking pariahs for, like, telling those stories. But, like, that seemed to be why she hated the bangle, because it made her mother unpopular.
Maybe.
But it's like, if it's that bad, if it was in your house and you had that moment where you're like, oh, I'm just going to take this and like put it in the attic, throw it in the fucking garbage. Like, don't put it in the attic. Like, if you hate this thing that much, just fucking get rid of it.
That would have been a different show. We're going to go into this house and we're going to like convince her that, oh, here we go. Over the portal, the world ends.
Just once, I would like to see a fucking movie, and they've probably already done it, where it's like they bill it as Tom Cruise is blah, and then you start the movie and it's fucking Tom Cruise, and he gets gicked in the first like 15 minutes of the movie, and then it goes to
People love that when they did it with Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Had Bryan Cranston. They're like, this is a Bryan Cranston vehicle.
Well, they also put it top billing the girl who played Scarlet Witch and the kid who was Kick-Ass. So.
But the trailers you watch, check out this Bryan Cranston movie. And and people fucking hated that shit. Don't do that.
It was a good movie.
Yeah, it was boring.
I liked Godzilla.
I thought it was too little Godzilla. If I go to a Godzilla movie, I don't want to listen to the humans.
No, you're right about that.
I want to see Godzilla fucking shit up.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. I don't give a fuck about the people, but if you're going to make an hour and a half movie with that much CG, like, I can only imagine what the price tag of that shit's going to be.
Fucking amazing.
My biggest complaint about World of Warcraft is, like, there was not... Like, if you have the money to make those 15-minute videos at the beginning of your games, like, why couldn't the entire movie be that?
Yeah, which I think the Warcraft movie... I like the Warcraft movie. But having it all been animated but looking that good would have been much better for it.
Well, that's the thing. I think the storyline was fine. But, like, the human actors and stuff like that...
Who gave a shit?
Yeah, and, like, the uncanny valley between seeing the animated orcs and the not animated, like, humans and stuff like that, it was too much for me. So, but, like, apparently the storyline was fucking, like, super straight canon.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, as it was going on, Amber's like, it's this past, this happens here, this person's there. Like, she was on it.
Yeah. The movie was real fucking good.
No, I don't think we'll ever see another one.
No, we will never see another one.
So, Nick, would you recommend Miss Marvel to somebody?
Not really.
No?
Not really. I mean, if you're into Marvel at this point in time and you're like, I really want to see the Marvels, well, you got some homework to do.
Okay.
So I think this show feels kind of like homework. And like, well, I want to watch other stuff with Miss Marvel in it. I better get to know her origin story so that I can, because I mean, there's nothing happens in the show beyond like character interactions, and the character stuff is good.
Yeah.
I liked seeing some of the Pakistani stuff. I liked that whole aspect of it. I liked Kamala. I liked her family. I even liked the brother's wife. She was interesting.
Yeah. So the thing that Amber said that I thought was, I mean, it's interesting. So the girl that played Nakia, Yasmin Fletcher, apparently her background in the comic book was she was Pakistani.
The one volume I read didn't go into her background, so I don't know.
So apparently that was another thing that a lot of people got mad because they changed like her heritage, and like she was half Lebanese, and like when Amber told me that I'm half Lebanese, and I'm quarter Lebanese, I should say, and when she told me that I was like, oh, that's cool. But like I've never heard, you know, like this is a Native American, because I'm a quarter Native American, I'm a quarter Lebanese, but I've never been like, oh, this is like a Native American hero, and I'd be like, oh, someone who finally represents me. Now I know that as soon as I say that, someone's like, oh, it's because every fucking hero that's out there is white and you're white. You're right, I am white, but I'm also like these other things. There's nothing that I don't define myself by my race or how I look.
No, it's I mean, also white culture at this point in time is kind of all blended together.
Yeah, I mean, we're Americans. We're all mutts. Yeah. We're all fucking mutts. Yeah. So, you know.
I never identify, like, I rarely identify with, like, here's the straight white male characters. He's you. I'm like, I'm not interested.
Yeah, like, so I know there was, like, a bunch of hubbub whenever they changed certain characters when they were saying that, like, basically everything was being whitewashed. I agree with that sentiment. But it's like, I'm also the person that whenever I went to go see the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, and they had Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin, I was fine with it.
He was really fucking good.
Yeah, because he's fucking huge.
Yeah, you need for Kingpin, you need just a giant fucking dude.
And he talked like, I imagine the Kingpin talking, very slow and very concise and very sinister.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it.
He was so fucking good.
So,
but then I mean, you also get we want original characters like Miss Marvel. I mean, I think she's already piggybacking off a name that isn't hers. She could have been like her own unique character, like Miles Morales being Spider-Man. There's already Spider-Man. No, when you hear Spider-Man, you're not going to think Miles Morales. You're going to think Peter Parker.
It depends on what generation you came up in.
Maybe, but it's always like a borrowed name. And I'd like to see more like diverse characters be created. Like Storm is fucking awesome, and she was like there's only the one Storm. We don't need a million Storms. We don't need a million Iron Mans. We don't need a million Captain America. Like just one. And then new person comes out, let them have a new name.
So I don't think you're going to have a choice with that in the cinematic universe.
No, absolutely not.
Actors are going to get so tired, they're going to hand it to another person who was.
But you could have the other person with their own name. At least in the MCU, Miss Marvel is her own name. It's not. She was a big fan of Captain Marvel in the books, and when the Miss transformed her, she looked like Miss Marvel at first because she could shape change, so she could actually shift herself around a little bit
to look like Carol.
And then it's just kind of like she's got full body control, and that's why she can like make her hands fists, and why she can go like super long and stuff like that.
So Carol Danvers was eaten by Rogue. How's she even back?
In the comics, I don't remember, because she was in a coma for a long time after Rogue touched her, which I hope we get that in this movie, because like Rogue in the X-Men comics, she was all right, but like I really miss her flying around and punching shit and being super southern. Southern.
And see, that's when they confirmed, when Fox finally sold the X-Men to, and I was like, are we gonna have a scene where like Rogue's a bad guy and just like drains her ass?
I'd be absolutely fucking down with it.
But that'd be so badass. But okay,
Rogue is one of my favorite X-Men. Like X-23 and Rogue, and are like my favorite X-Men, and Mystique is my favorite Marvel character.
My favorite X-Men is Nightcrawler. Because Kurt is fucking awesome.
He's pretty dope.
Anybody that can fight with a cutlass in both hands and one in his tail, and teleport behind you. That's dude, good. Fucking Kurt is awesome. But I would recommend the show to people. If you are just sitting around, it's Saturday, you ain't got nothing better to do. Maybe you're gonna go wash the car, and maybe it's raining. Put on Miss Marvel. Give it give it a look. It's not bad, and I don't think it's a waste of time.
And that's, I think, maybe once you've caught up. I mean, The Boys, Stranger Things, Obi-Wan.
Are we gonna do a Boys review?
No, probably not. Maybe
we need to.
Maybe in a couple weeks.
Have you started watching it yet?
Not yet. It's out though, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's all out there now.
Okay. So I mean, they put out a bunch of shit all at once. Catch up on your shit.
Yeah.
Then maybe check out Miss Marvel.
That sounds like great advice.
I would say it's maybe the characters in it are enough, but I wouldn't prioritize it over other things with your valuable time.
Go watch The Boys season 3. Like straight up, just go watch it. Like you need to go watch it too. Like it's good.
Okay.
Or maybe it's not, because it's breaking the format of what we're supposed to do. Maybe I hated it.
Well, let me just go ahead and pull out a 9.
That'd be shooting too high.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
But anyways, I think, is there anything else you think we need to cover?
I think we could put bow on this one.
Okay.
I mean, if you're really interested in Miss Marvel, like that's a good fucking book. I recommend that book.
Which one?
No Normal. It's the one where you see her symbol right in the front.
So, Nick heavily recommends.
It was good. I mean, it's a 5 issues. It makes me want to go out and get volume 2 because I want to keep reading about Miss Marvel.
And right now, you can find it at a bargain price of $4.97.
Don't make promises that stores can't keep.
Is that actually on the cover?
I know, isn't it so fucking annoying? Places like Books A Million.
That is driving.
Slap that shit on, and like you can see where I tried to take it off, and I'm like, that's just gonna leave behind. I'd rather it say bargain priced than have all that pulled off white shit.
That I gotta put this down. That's annoying me
so
bad.
I know, it's awful. Well, I mean, they could see it, but I mean, so like they slapped that right on the cover. And I tried to take it off, like over here, but it's gonna leave that residue.
I thought that was on the fucking protector.
No, I bought these protectors myself.
Yeah,
because I want to store some of them, and I found out I was like, I don't think the comic things are too. Can you fit trade paperbacks and sleeves? Silver Aged. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Most of what they sell is Silver Age.
Well, there's modern sleeves that fit modern comic books.
Yeah,
and they're tight in it.
And they fit them like a glove. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you want to box up some of your trade paperbacks, Silver Age is the way to go.
That's annoying me knowing that's straight on the cover.
It's so bad. I've got other things I've bought from
That makes me physically
Books a Million. Because I mean, again, this is a $15 book maybe that you're getting for $5, so you're paying for it.
All right, baby's crying, so we're gonna cut this one short.
All right, bye everybody.
See ya.